What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to scrape leads from Google Maps and send them an outreach campaign by creating a simple workflow in N8N. So let's get started. So to scrape the leads from Google Maps, I'm going to use this tool called Apify. Apify is an incredible tool that you can use to scrape any website and automate projects. So create an account on Apify, and after creating an account on Apify, head over to Apify store. Since we are scraping leads from Google Maps, I'm going to search for Google Maps. Here I'm going to click on search. You can see we have over 89 tools that we can use to scrape Google Maps. Since we would like to send them an outreach campaign, we can scrape leads with emails. So I'm going to open this tool on a new tab. This is the tool that we're going to use to scrape leads with their emails from Google Maps. Here we're going to add our search term like coaching and consulting, and then you can add a location over here or the number of leads that we would like to scrape. You can also choose to add the language right here. You can also perform a more precise filter by filtering based on place category, star ratings, either the company has a website or do not have a website, or to scrape all places as provided by Google. You can also choose to filter using geolocation parameters or add a Google Maps URL instead of a search term like we're doing right here. But instead, I'm going to choose to add a search term right here, for example, SEO agencies. To scrape SEO agencies from New York, I'm going to click on Save and Start. You can see that our tool is running and getting our data. Let's give it a second. You can see that our tool succeeded in scraping for us 4 leads for SEO agencies located in New York. So here are the name of the agencies, here their total score, review count, and here's their Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter pages. Here's their phone numbers. I'm also getting their email addresses over here. Also getting the city, their website, and the search URL from Google Maps right here. So we can automate this process by creating a simple workflow in N8N. So to do that, I've created a workflow that I've renamed to Google Maps Lead Scrape and Outreach. Yeah, we'll need to add a trigger, and it shows the trigger manually over here. And then the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to search for the HTTP request icon, HTTP request node, to run our actor in N8N. I'm going to open Apify documentation. Then head over to where it says run an actor synchronously with the input and get dataset items. Here, I'm going to copy the CURL over here. This is the CURL that we're going to use. And then in N8N, I'm going to click on import CURL and paste the CURL over here and click on import. So here, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to add our actor ID right here. So I'm going to click on back to our tool right here. Then from the URL, I'm going to copy the unique ID of this tool, paste it right here. Then after adding our actor ID, the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to add our token right here. In Apify, click on settings, N8N integration. Yeah, I'm going to create a new token, give it a description, can call it test, and click on create. Yeah, then I'm going to copy it. I've renamed it to test, so I can delete it later on. Then now here I'm going to click on expression. Can expand this right here, and then paste our token right here. Remember to not include a space right here or in the end. And then the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to input our JSON. And then here I'm going to click on using JSON. And then now to grab our JSON from our tool, you can see where it says manual and JSON. Click on where it says JSON, then we'll copy this JSON right here. So copy it. And then here I'm going to click on using JSON, and then here I'll paste our JSON, which is awesome. So now we can try to scrape 4 SEO agencies in New York from our workflow by clicking on test tab over here. So you can see it's executing our node. So now when we go to our tool and click on runs, you can see that it started our crawler over here and it's running over here. Give it a second so you can scrape the leads for us, and we'll be able to get the leads over here. Here you can see it successfully scraped the leads for us over here, and we got 4 leads over here. You can click on tables to view the 4 leads that we just scraped. So here you can see we scraped 4 SEO agencies in New York. These are the 4 different SEO agencies. And here's the rest of their data. like their phone number, website, location, also email address, and the rest of this information that they've provided over here. So here, I'll rename this module to Google Maps Lead Scraper. Then click on rename. Now the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to filter the leads that we've got their emails. So I'll search for filter and click on the node right here. And here I'm going to search for email. And then here I'll drag the value here and say that the email should exist. And then I'm going to click on test tab. You can see we captured the one lead because the one lead was the one which had an available email. Now we're going to proceed to write a personalized first line for this lead with the email. To write the first line, I'm going to use AI. I'll search for OpenAI. Click on OpenAI. And here I'm going to click on message model. Here you'll need to create a credential over here. And from OpenAI, add your API key right here. And then click on save to create a new credential. Since I had already created my credential, I'm going to choose my credential right here. Version, I'm going to choose to message model. Here I'm going to choose our model. I'm going to choose 4.1 mini. Another system prompt over here. So the system prompt could be on the lines of you're an intelligent writing assistant. I'm going to choose the role of the system. Now to add the user role, I'm going to click on add a message and add the prompt for the user role over here by clicking on expression and expanding it over here to add the prompt for the user role. The prompt for the system role could be on the lines of generate a personalized, intriguing, and captivating first line for cold email based on the lead's website data scraped from Google Maps. And then here we are in their website. The first line should be engaging, relevant, and complementary, designed to hook the lead into reading further without being pushy or salesy. Output only the first line with no explanation or additional text. Do not include suggestions, placeholders like mention a specific property type or service in the output. The output should be fully written, personalized first line based on the website content, and do not include quotation marks around the first line. So these are a couple of rules that we're planning for the AI to follow as it's generating for us the first line. Then here we're going to simplify our output and output the content is JSON. So here to generate a first line for our lead, I'm going to click on test tab. Here you can see that our node was executed successfully and gave us an output. Then it showed for us that this personalized first line. It's on the lines of I've been truly impressed by how high-rise SEO elevates online visibility for businesses, turning search engines into powerful allies. That's an incredibly personalized first line. So our node works perfectly. So here I'll rename this to generate first lines. Then click on rename. I'm going to click on back to canvas. And after we've generated our first lines, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find a unique angle to try and intrigue our lead. One way we can do this is generating a newsletter that we're going to share with them via an outreach campaign. So we're trying to provide value up front to try and get them to reply to us. So we can generate a newsletter about us, how we can automate the SEO agency, or how automation is valuable for an SEO agency. Send them the newsletter to try and interest them into replying to our email. So now to generate our newsletter, we're going to scrape data from their website. So to scrape their website data, here I'm going to search for HTTP node. Here we like to scrape their website, so here I'm going to add their website URL. Then here I'll rename this to website scraper. And then click on rename. And now to scrape their website, I'm going to click on test tab. You can see it's executing the node. Here we scraped their website. We got a combination of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, text, images, all the website data over here. Now to filter the data, we're going to use a markdown. So I'm going to search for markdown. Click on markdown. And here, for the mode, I'm going to choose HTML to markdown. Here we're going to add the HTML right here. This is the data that we scraped. Then I'm going to click on test tab to convert it into markdown. All readable information that we can be able to understand. So we can see it's not long right now, like it was previously. Now with our website data in markdown format, we can go ahead and generate a summary of this data. Over here, you can see we cannot be able to understand any of these over here, but here I will be able to summarize this and give us a concrete summary of this website data. We'd also like to generate unique article angles that we can use to generate our newsletter or lead magnet that we're going to send to a lead via an outreach campaign. So here we're going to use AI to generate a summary of the website data. So I'll search for OpenAI right here. Click on OpenAI, then click on message model over here. Yeah, I'm going to rename this to website data summary. Then I'm going to choose our model. I'm going to choose 4.0 mini. And then here we're going to add, here click on rename. And here I'm going to add the prompt. The prompt could be on the lines of, you're a helpful and intelligent data extract assistant. This will be system role. Then here I'll add a message and add the prompt for the user role. I'll click on expression, expand this, then add the prompt for the user role right here, which could be on the lines of, you're being provided with a block of unstructured information related to a person's website. Your job is to analyze this raw data and extract meaningful insights from it. Use the information to generate a website data section with a compelling and detailed breakdown, at least 2 paragraphs long. Then we are providing some guidelines for the AI to follow. Be thorough and descriptive in the website data section. Go beyond surface level points. List 3 unique and thought-provoking angles or topics we could explore further in future article. Format all new lines characters with \n in your output. And here I'm going to go back to Canvas. Then here I'll add a message to add our website data. This data right here, which is in the markdown format. Here I'll click on expression. And so the website script will be this data right here. So this is the data that the AI is supposed to summarize for us and give us 3 unique angles. And then here I'm going to output the content as a JSON. Now to summarize this long data right here and give us unique angles that we can write our newsletter, I'm going to click on test step. It's executing our node right here. Let's give it a second. Here give us an overview of the company, service highlights over here, content richness, and 3 unique angles that we can use to write our newsletter over here. So one node works perfectly. Now after we've generated our website data summary, the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to generate our newsletter. So I'm still going to use OpenAI, so I'll search for OpenAI right here. Click on message model. Here I'm going to rename this to generate newsletter. And then click on rename. Here I'm going to choose our model from the list. I'm going to choose GPT 4.0 mini and add the prompt for the system role right here, which could be on the lines of, you're a helpful and intelligent newsletter writing assistant. For the role, I'm going to choose the system role. Then we're going to add the prompt for the user role right here and click on expression. The next one is right here to add the prompt for the user role, which could be on the lines of, your task is to take as input information about a website, then generate a customized, polished newsletter that I will use as lead magnet to sell them on stuff. The tone should be fun, professional, and conversational, designed to educate, entertain, and trust. Then here we're adding a couple of rules for the AI to follow. Begin with a single, engaging sentence that is relevant, complementary, and personalized based on the content provided. It should immediately hook the reader without sounding pushy or salesy. Do not include quotation marks, explanation, or placeholders in the output. For the newsletter content, after the first line, continue with paragraphs of informative and engaging content. The writing should highlight key value points from the website while keeping the tone fresh and easy to read. Use metaphors, storytelling, and or real-world examples where appropriate. For the lead magnet angle, put 3 unique, interesting takeaways that could be expanded into future content or mini articles. This should be without provoking and directly tied to the website's niche or audience. Return all new lines characters as \n. Keep paragraphs short and readable. Use bullet points or emojis to enhance flow and tone where fitting. So that would be the prompt for the user role right here. And lastly, we're going to add a message and add our website data right here. So here I'm going to click on expression, add our website data right here. The data we're going to add the overview over here. I'm also going to include service highlights. I'm also going to include content richness over here. And then also going to include article angles right here. So the first article angle, second angle that our AI can use to write for us our newsletter, and the third angle right here, which is awesome. Now to generate our newsletter using our node, I'm going to click on test step. You can see it's executing our node right here. So this is done. So here you can see that it generated for us an incredible newsletter for us over here, which is awesome. Here's the content of the newsletter that we can share with our leads in our outreach campaign. It's an incredibly personalized newsletter. After generating our newsletter, we can add it to a Google Docs file. So search for Google Docs. Click on Google Docs. Here we're going to start by creating a document. Here you'll need to create a credential. By clicking on create a new credential. Then from your Google API, add your client ID and client secret right here. To create a credential, then click on save to create a credential. Since I already created my credential. I'm going to close this and choose my credential over here. I would like to create a document, store it in my drive. I'm going to choose one of my folders in my Google Drive, and here we're going to give it a title. So here we can say this is this company's newsletter over here, and then here I'm going to click on test tab. You can see we created our document. We have our document ID right here, which is awesome. We can add the newsletter that we generated to our Google Docs file. So I'll search for Google Docs again, click on Google Docs, and click on update the document node. Here I'll add our doc ID, which is this ID right here. And here I'll rename this to newsletter. Click on rename. And here we're going to add our content that we generated over here to our docs file. And then I'm going to click on test tab to add it to our Google Docs file. Over here now you can see we're getting our document ID here. So to open this document, we'll open a Google Docs file. And now when we open our Google Docs file that we save to a Google Drive folder, you can see the newsletter that our AI generated for us over here. You can try and customize it if you want by choosing a different font over here and customize it the way you like. Here rename this to create newsletter and then click on rename. So now after creating our newsletter and adding it to a Google Docs file, we can add this client data to spreadsheet. Here to add the leads data to a spreadsheet, I'm going to search for Google Sheet. Click on Google Sheets over here, and here I'm going to click on append row in a sheet module. Like we did with the Google Docs file, you also need to create a credential right here. By clicking on create a new credential, sign in with your Google account and choose the account that you like to connect to N8N. Since I have already done that, I'm going to close, and here I'm going to choose our document from the list. I'm going to choose Google Maps scraped leads. Now on Google Sheet, I've created a spreadsheet that I've renamed to Google Maps scraped leads lead magnet sheet. Also on this spreadsheet, I've created a sheet that I've renamed to scrape data. In this sheet, we're going to add the leads website, the business name, phone number, email, first line, the document ID, and the search page URL over here. So to add the leads information over here to our spreadsheet, I'm going to choose our sheet over here, choose the scrape data over here. Here we're going to add values to our columns in our spreadsheet. For the website, we're going to add their website URL. It should be this website over here. For the business name, and for the business name, we're going to drag it over here. Phone number, we're going to use the unformatted phone number over here. For the email, we're going to add the email address. You can search for email over here. And we're going to drag the email address over here. The first line, we're going to add the first line that we generated using our node, OpenAI node. It should be this first line over here. The newsletter ID with the unique ID of our document over here. And then for the search page URL, I'm going to search for it over here. So search page URL, then drag it over here. Should be awesome. And now to add our leads information to a spreadsheet, I'm going to click on test tab. Now to add values to our columns in our spreadsheet, I'm going to click on back to canvas, and here I'm going to click on test workflow again. So here I ran our workflow again, and here I pinned our data since I don't want to keep on scraping SEO agencies in this specific location. After I ran our workflow, we got this for SEO agencies in New York, and then I pinned the data. Then we filtered with the ones with emails. We got only 2. We kept only 2 agencies with the emails, which is WebDroids and Digital Link Web Design with the SEO agency. Then we generated first lines for the 2 agencies right here. So we only generated 1 first line because for the first website we have only the contact page. So if we had the entire website, we would have generated the first line for them. But since we do not have any information on the contact page, that's why it was left as an empty object. But automation works properly since it's generating for us a first line. So for the second one, you can see it on the lines of, I was really impressed by how Digital Links transforms complex digital challenges into seamless solutions, showcasing your commitment to innovation in the tech landscape. That's incredible. And then we went ahead and scraped their website and converted their data into Markdown. Then with the Markdown data, we generated the website data summary. We generated the website data summary. Over here, you can see we're getting the website data and 4 article topics that we can write to generate our newsletter. Then we created the newsletter in Google Docs and then added the newsletter to our Google Docs. Then we added the leads data to our spreadsheet. Added the website, business name, phone number, email, first line, newsletter document ID, search page URL. The reason why it's red is for the first website, which was a web grid. We did not generate a first line for them, but for the second one, we generated a first line for them. Here, I open our spreadsheet, you can see we added our leads data over here. We added the website, business name, phone number, the email, first line, newsletter document ID, and the search page URL over here. Back to Canvas, and here we can rename this to leads data, and then click on rename here. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to send our leads an outreach campaign. To send our leads an outreach campaign, we're going to use this tool called Lemlist. So I'll search for Lemlist right here. Click on it, and here I'm going to create a lead. Here you'll need to create a credential. So here, to do that, I just click on create new credential, and from Lemlist, add your API key right here, and click on save to create a new credential. On Lemlist, I've created a campaign that I've renamed to Dennis campaign. To grab your API key, click on settings, then click on integration, then here, generate a new API key right here. For generating, give it a name, and then click on create a key, then copy it, and come and add your API key right here to create a new credential, and click on save. Since I had already created my credential, I'm going to choose my credential right here. Here, we're going to create a lead. I'm going to choose our campaign, choose Dennis campaign, and here we're going to add the data that we'd like to add to our campaign. So the first thing we're going to add is the client's email, is the lead's email. So this, I'll drag the email right here. We can also add additional fields. For example, the company name, then drag the company name right here, add another field, like icebreaker. Now I'm going to drag the first line that we generated over here. And I'm going to add another field. We can add the company domain, and then add the website. Drag the website right here. Add another field. You can add the phone number, then drag the phone number right here. Now to add our 2 leads to our Lemlist campaign, I'm going to click on Test App. You can see it was executed successfully. Here we're going to drag this right here, and then can rename this to Add Leads to Lemlist, and then click on Rename. Now here we can tidy it up over here. So you can see we added our leads to Lemlist. We generated a newsletter right here, and here's one of the newsletters that we generated for leads using our workflow. Now let us open Lemlist and see the leads we've added to our campaign. In our campaign, I've written 2 emails in this sequence. First email is on the lines of hi, name. And then we're adding our icebreaker right here, the one that we generated using our workflow. I'm a big believer in giving value before asking for anything, so I put together something that you might find genuinely helpful. Here's a quick fun newsletter that breaks down how AI is quietly reshaping the way businesses operate, not in a taking overwhelming way, but in a way that actually makes life easier. And then here we're going to add our lead magnet or the newsletter that we generated over here. Whether you're curious, skeptical, or somewhere in between, I think this will give you a few oh wow moments. Give it a read, and if it sparks an idea, I'd love to hear what stood out most. Let's make busy optional. Cheers, Dennis. So to add the icebreaker, all you have to do is add 2 curly braces right here, and select the icebreaker over here that we generated using our workflow. Now for the second email, it's a follow-up email that we're sending one day later, where it's on the lines of hi, name, just checking in. Did you get a chance to skim through the AI newsletter I sent over? I'd love to hear what jumped out at you, whether it sparked a new idea, confirmed something you've been thinking, or just made you go, huh, interesting. I'm always looking to share things that are actually useful, or just noise. If there is something you'd want to dive deeper into next time, just hit reply and let me know. In the meantime, here's a little reminder in case you missed the link, then we add in the lead magnet or the newsletter link over here. Talk soon, Dennis. And now on the lead list, you can see the 2 leads that we added right here. So we scraped these leads using Apify from Google Maps. Then we got the information right here, like the email address. We went ahead and generated an icebreaker over here. Here you can choose to add columns that you like to make visible. For example, we can make the company domain visible, remove the lead magnets, and click on save. And stretch this on out right here. So now we have the email address, company name, the campaign domain, and the icebreakers that we're going to generate using our workflow. Now to launch these campaign, let's click on launch right here. So we did not add the lead magnet to this campaign. That's why it's telling us that there's some information that is missing. So here you can go back to the sequence, Now here you can figure out how to convert the newsletter into a link and then come and add it right here, which is very easy. But for this example, I'm going to choose to leave it out. So I'll delete the lead magnet variable from our campaign sequence. And then on the launch, you can see now our campaign is ready to launch for these leads right here. So you can see the emails that we're sending to our leads. Now, you can see the first email that we're going to send this lead is on the lines. I was really impressed by how digital links transform complex digital challenges into seamless solutions, showcasing your commitment to innovation, the landscape. And then here we're going in to how we are offering them a lead magnet that will help them automate their agency. Here's where they're going to grab it. And then one day later, we're going to send them this follow-up email. Same with this other lead right here. Now, since this one we did not generate an icebreaker, that's why it's telling us it's a missing variable, which is fine right here. So now to launch this campaign, all you have to do is just click on launch for 2 leads right here. And then here you can view the campaign launch recap. Leads that will be contacted are 2, time between each lead will be 20 minutes. And then here you can see the campaign starts for leads who reply. And then the sending schedule is from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And edit the settings right here if you're interested. But if everything looks perfect, just click on launch for the 2 leads to launch your campaign over here. So our workflow works perfectly. We can try running it one last time so we can see how it works live. So I'll open this node and here. So we're going to choose SEO agencies in a different location, for example, Miami. And then go back to Converse, and here we can unpin this. And now to test our workflow, contest workflow. You can see our workflow is being executed right here, scraping SEO agencies in Miami. Let's give it a second for it to run. So you can see that our workflow was executed successfully. Here we managed to scrape 4 SEO agencies in Miami. Right here. So there are the 4 agencies that we scraped on Miami. Then we filtered the agencies with the one with emails available. So you can see we kept only 2 agencies with the emails available. I went ahead and generated first lines for the 2 agencies with their emails available. You can see the first lines right here that we generated. The first one is for the MOC Digital Marketing Agency, and the other one is for the Jives Media Agency. The first line for more MOC Digital Marketing Agencies on the lines of the innovative storytelling approach at MOC Digital Marketing not only captures the essence of brands, but also transforms them into compelling narrative that engages audiences on a deeper level. Now, the first line was for the Jives Media, which is in the lines of your captivating digital storytelling truly sets Jives Media apart in the vibrant Miami marketing landscape, making it impossible not to admire your innovative approach. That's an incredibly personalized first line. Then we're scraping their websites, converting the HTML into Markdown. We're using the Markdown to generate their website data summary over here. And then we're also generating article angles that we're going to use to generate a newsletter for them. You can see this is for MOC Digital Marketing Agency, and this is for Jives Media Agency over here. Then we're generating a newsletter for them using their website data over here. And then we're creating a newsletter document on Google Docs. Then we're adding the newsletter to the Google Docs right here. And then we're adding the leads data to a Google spreadsheet over here. And then adding the leads to Lemlist in our outreach campaign. Check out the newsletter that our workflow generated for us for the 2 agencies. Here's the first newsletter for MOC Digital Marketing Agency. You can see even here we're including 3 takeaways to inspire them in their future marketing endeavors over here. Now this is the second one for Jive Media Agency over here. It's an incredible newsletter. You can just lengthen it by specifying the number of words that you like to include in the newsletter over here. Then after generating our newsletter, we adding their leads data to our spreadsheet. When you open our spreadsheet, you can see we added their website over here, business name, phone number, email, and the first line that we generated for each of our lead over here, which is awesome. We're also adding the newsletter document ID, and the search page URL for each of our lead, which is awesome. And then we're adding the leads to Lemlist. Now on Lemlist, in our latest campaign, we click on lead list. You can see the 2 leads that we added over here. So we added MOC Digital Marketing Agency's email right here, and Jives Media's email address right here. You're also adding the company name, domain name, and the icebreaker that we generated using our workflow. Now to launch the campaign, just click on launch over here. And then here you can verify if the emails look perfect. You can see we're adding our icebreaker right here to our lead. You can also see the same for Jives Media right here. Now to launch this campaign, just click on launch for leads over here. Verify if everything looks perfect. If everything you would like to edit, just click on edit settings right here. But if everything looks perfect, just click on launch campaign for the 4 leads. So our workflow works perfectly. Here we are scraping leads from Google Maps using Apify. Then we're filtering the leads with the ones with the emails available. Then we're generating first lines for the leads with their emails available. We're scraping their website data, converting the website data to Markdown. Then we are generating a summary of their website data right here. Then we are using the website data to generate for them a personalized newsletter. Then we are creating a newsletter document in Google Docs. Then adding the newsletter that we generated right here to this Google Docs file right here. And then we're adding the leads information to our spreadsheet, similar to this one right here. And then we're adding the leads to a campaign in Lemlist. If you have a workflow or an AI agent that you'd like for me to create using N8N, just comment down below in the comment section. If I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to create the entire workflow or AI agent using N8N from scratch. But for now, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.